From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening. Testimony continued today in the trial of a former Nanook hockey player accused of rape.
24-year-old Nolan Youngman is charged with 2 felony counts of sexual assault for allegedly forcing a victim to have sex with him in April of 2015. Defense attorney William Ingleton continued questioning UAF Police Lieutenant Kyle Carrington about his investigation. Ingleton asked him why he did not check the victim's Instagram page for inconsistencies in her story. The defense attorney then brought up 8 posts by Youngman that the victim hit the like button on. The prosecution, led by Earl Peterson, redirected Carrington, asking him if hitting the like on Instagram means I want to have sex with you, and Carrington said no. The defense then called several witnesses to ask them about the victim's actions several weeks after the alleged assault took place. They told Ingleton that the victim had attempted to go to a hockey party, but they had denied her entrance. The closing arguments are expected to start tomorrow.
A North Pole man charged with kidnapping changed his plea to guilty yesterday in Fairbanks Superior Court. 58-year-old Bill Krause was originally charged with armed robbery, kidnapping with ransom, and assault. Instead, he took a plea deal and pleaded down to only kidnapping. According to reports, Krause and his accomplice pulled into the driveway of a residence in North Pole and approached a male victim with a gun, forcing him to hand over his cell phone, money, and wallet. The two then reportedly forced a woman into their vehicle at gunpoint and left the scene. Krause and the accomplice then called the male victim, demanding over $1,000 ransom, but they later crashed the vehicle into a ditch and the woman was able to escape. Sentencing is scheduled for June.
The University of Alaska Board of Regents heard public testimony this morning on its plan to restructure the university system in light of state budget cuts. The draft Strategic Pathways Plan, released Tuesday, is meant to cut costs by focusing each of the 3 main UA campuses into certain disciplines. The proposal defines UA Anchorage as the metropolitan university responsible for health, policy, and social sciences. UA Fairbanks would be the research university for science, engineering, and rural development. Southeast is labeled the Liberal Arts and Sciences University, focusing on fisheries, mining, and interdisciplinary environmental studies. The plan also retains a few core programs, namely education and management, across all campuses. While the draft plan offers a few details about which non-core degree programs would be eliminated, more than a dozen people expressed concerns in Fairbanks this morning on their area of interest that would be impacted.
Well, the main goal really is just to continue the conversation, to have an update about the pathways concept, and to look at the contingency budget criterion that the university's put together for how the budget will be reconfigured in the weeks ahead as the legislature decides what the budget will be.
2 memorial services for Anchorage Representative Max Grunberg will be held next week, according to a Thursday announcement by the Alaska Independent Democratic Coalition. A service in Juneau will be held Sunday, February 21st at 3 p.m. at Resurrection Lutheran Church. A service in Anchorage will be held Thursday, February 25th at 5:30 p.m. at Temple Beth Shalom. The 72-year-old Grunberg died suddenly Sunday, February 14th at his home in Juneau. Lawmakers this week mourned and spoke of his hard work for his constituents and his keen attention to details in bills and amendments. The Anchorage Democrat represented House District 16, an area of East Anchorage.
A co-chair of the House Finance Committee says the panel is working hard to get the state operating budget to the House floor by March 9th. Republican Representative Steve Thompson of Fairbanks said budget cuts are needed before looking at other sources of revenue. He says continuing with the current spending rate without looking at other ways to balance the budget would threaten the state's dividend program and reserve. Thompson says once the budget gets to the floor, lawmakers can concentrate on possible revenue sources. Thompson says all the options will be looked at. Governor Bill Walker has proposed industry tax increases, oil tax credit changes, and personal income tax. Several proposals, including one from Walker, would make use of Alaska Permanent Fund earnings.
All right, when we come back, an Alaska Native leader and civil rights activist was honored at Denali Elementary School today. We'll give you the details about that.
Also, the annual Bardathon continues with 2 more days, but what it's all about, we'll give you the details. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Elizabeth Paradovich was an Alaska Native leader and civil rights activist in the 1940s. Her legacy was celebrated last night at the annual potluck held in her honor. Monty Bowen has that story.
The celebration at Denali Elementary School was hosted by the Alaska Native Education Parent Advisory Committee. Elizabeth Paranovich was a strong advocate for Alaska Native people in the 1940s.
She advocated for our ability to vote without denouncing who we are as Native people and without giving up our Native language.
She found and won a battle against discrimination.
Back when she was alive, there were often stores and restaurants that had signs saying no natives, no dogs. And when she spoke in front of the legislature, she got them to pass the anti-discriminatory bill and put that into place so that it was unlawful to discriminate against Alaska Native people in the state of Alaska.
Those involved in the program say it's important to bring the message about the Alaska Native leaders to students.
It's extremely important, I think, not only for Native and Alaska Native kids to know who she was, but also for the general public to know who she was, because she was so pivotal in really securing rights for Alaska Native people, for all people in the state.
This is Monty Bowen reporting.
Endurance can be crucial in a number of sports and games, but at Raven Landing, a literary event is demanding that same quality. Mike Fussell has more in this week's That's Interiortainment.
Why should I war without the walls of Troy that find such cruel battle?
While William Shakespeare may have been laid to rest 4 centuries ago, the words of the bard are keeping some local actors up at all hours of the night. Alex Gagne-Hawes is one of the local thespians paging through the entirety of Shakespeare's works, and it's all part of the 17th Bardathon, a 24/7 reading put on by the Fairbanks Shakespeare Theater.
It's all about creating the chemistry, like the action's there, the drama's already there in the script, and if you just let 2 people, read it, it just comes right out.
Gagne-Hawes is assisted by just one other reader today. They're taking the shape of the numerous characters in the lesser-known play, Troilus and Cressida. Gagne-Hawes says the author's more popular works draw more people to the event, so coordinators schedule them accordingly.
We try to schedule the most popular ones for the times when people are up, but the midnight histories are real popular. Everyone loves the midnight histories, and there's the Romeo and Juliet is always popular. The romances are always big draws.
Readers have already paged through A Midsummer's Night's Dream, Hamlet, Othello, and The Merchant of Venice, keeping the old English engine of drama pushing full steam ahead during all hours of the day presents some unique challenges. Gagne-Hawes says the writer helps those acting out his words get clued in to the changes of tone and energy in each story.
He tells you, hey, watch out for this coming up. But that's one reason I do this, is because it keeps you nimble, it keeps you very alert. It's like reading the Bible out loud, but you're acting in all the relationships too.
To help, Gagne-Hawes is a moderator at the meeting. He divvies up roles, which wasn't too much of a challenge today. And he keeps order as the iambic pentameter flows through the halls of Raven Landing. Reading began last weekend and runs through this Saturday. Those involved say anybody is invited to come read a line at any time. Reporting from Raven Landing, I'm Mike Fussell.
That's Interiortainment, brought to you by Midnight Sun Family Medicine.
All right, coming up in sports, the returning Iron Dog winner has a new partner this year.
There's lots of hockey coming up this weekend because the Nanooks and Ice Dogs are at home.
Those stories and a whole lot more with Joe Cook after the break.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here with your local Thursday Sportscast. Soon, 82 snow machine racers will be headed to Fairbanks for the Iron Dog finish line. The legendary Iron Dog race starts this Saturday, but the ceremony will start on 4th Street in Anchorage. 41 pro-class teams will go on a 2,031-mile route from Big Lake to Nome to Fairbanks. This year, 11 racers from the interior are in the field. They will compete for over $260,000 in prizes. The winning team gets $65,000. The first team is expected to arrive on the Chena River, downtown Fairbanks, between 11 and noon next Saturday. Our sister station, KTUU, talked to defending champ Scott Feo, who is teaming up with 4-time winner Mark McKenna.
We do real well together. Really great rider. It's been a blast this year, kind of training and having fun together and pushing each other, which is good for both of us. No concerns really. It's actually probably exceeded my expectations, I'd say, with Mark, and I think that we're feeling really confident, and I think we're ahead of the game a little bit.
With 6 games left in the regular season, it's go time for the UAF hockey team. It'll be a tall task to secure a playoff spot, but it starts this Friday night. They host the number 2 team in the WCHA, Bowling Green. Alaska is having a buy one, get one ticket special at the Patty Center box office for this series as well. So take advantage of that. Alaska is still just 2 points out of 8th place, which is held by Anchorage. The Nanooks will look to handle business at home, where they have 4 of their last 6 games at home at the Carlson Center. These Falcons and Nanook matchups are historically very physical and just flat out tough. UAF may have an advantage, which they hope they can take advantage of, which will lead to wins.
They're very systematic and they're hardworking, so I think we got a little bit more skill than they do. So if we can take advantage of that, I think we'll be successful this weekend.
When we play hard and play within our systems, we're really successful. So if we can just stick to our systems and come together as a team, we should be successful here in the last few games.
Against Bowling Green, you're going to have to play a hard, heavy game, and you're going to have to compete. The only way we're going to get some wins and points against Bowling Green is to compete hard and play simple hockey.
The UAF Rifle team, number 5 in the country, starts their final regular season meet of the season today. Up on the hill, the Nooks have UTEP in Nevada and the EF Horton Rifle Range for a morning and evening session. The shots fired at 9 a.m. this morning in the first relay. Sagan Magdalena led Alaska with a near-perfect 598 in air rifle. Her 587 in small bore was second. Soren Butler was 4th, and Jamie Barnes finished 5th in small bore. All 3 teams will have Friday off before coming back on the line for the NCAA qualifier set to start this Saturday at 9 a.m. The Fairbanks Ice Dogs are on top, but they'll be feeding on their home fans this weekend for some extra energy. After 2 hard-earned wins in Springfield, 9 of the Ice Dogs' top players and head coach Trevor Stewart participated in the NHL Top Prospects Tournament in Plymouth, Michigan. That ended on Tuesday. They look up and they host the Janesville Jets on Friday night. Fairbanks got their first win over Janesville in their last meeting in early February after losing 5 straight to the Jets. Logan Coombs, who played in front of his family and friends in the showcase, thinks the Ice Dogs may have figured the Jets out.
Yeah, I think we were a lot more physical the last time we played them, and we just turned down their systems because they rely on their systems more than their talent. So if we can shut their systems down and we play our own game, it should be a good game and we should come out on top.
In high school hoops action on Wednesday night, the West Valley Wolfpack took on the North Pole Patriots. The West Valley girls defeated North Pole 63-23, so the boys, they were looking for the sweep. The Wolfpack, they were up by 11 at the break, led by Daniel Hornbuckle's game-high 30 points as he had a pair of throwdowns in that first half. He wasn't alone. Isaiah Winfrey scored 20 points, and West Valley, they led by 17 going into the fourth quarter. Patriots made it interesting down the stretch, hitting some 3-pointers. They hit 9 as a team. Cameron Pugh, Jared Peterson, and Craig Borble all had 15 points. North Pole makes it respectable, but West Valley wins 77-67 and gets the sweep. They host Lathrop on Friday night for senior night. And it was senior night at Hutchinson High School on Wednesday. The Hawks celebrated 5 seniors, 3 on the boys squad and 2 on the girls team. In the boys game, the Monroe Rams wanted to play spoilers, but Hutchinson, they stayed close with the Rams for a half. Xavier Udebe scored a game-high 17 points, and Jaden White scored 14 for Hutch, who trailed 22-24 at the half. But the Rams outscored the Hawks 20-8 in the third quarter, led by Will Justice's 15 points. Ryan Brantley added 10 as the Rams went 60-41 at Hutchinson. In the girls' game, Hutch senior Kimmy Duffield poured in 4 threes and had a game-high 15 points. The Hawks led by 15 in the second half. But Maya Dukovic and Savannah Matt both had 8 points, and they made it an 8-point game early in the fourth quarter. But Duffield and the Hawks were able to hold off the Rams in a 37-29 victory as Hutchinson splits Aurora Conference play. And that's a wrap for sports. Thanks for watching. Your full weather forecast is next after the break, and we'll catch you next time.
And welcome back to the weather segment of our broadcast. Mike Schultz is actually volunteering tonight this evening for the City Bisbee. So good luck to all those contestants right there. Let's go ahead and get right to your special weather statement to start the broadcast off, or the weather broadcast. Air quality forecast for Fairbanks and North Pole is both stage 2. What does that mean? It means it's unhealthy for sensitive groups. So if you have an ailment or younger children or the elderly, please limit your exposure to the outside because it's not good for you. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our state map for today. There you go. All right, so it was a little cold for Fort Yukon today. Minus 17 degrees. We're in the interior. We're in the single digits only. Barrow checking in at 11 below as well. On the west coast, Nome 18, Bethel 19 degrees. Cold Bay 34 degrees, and in the Anchorage Bowl area 25 down there. A little system off to the Gulf of Alaska right there. And then on the Panhandle, Juneau checking in today with 29. Ketchikan, soggy at 33 degrees. Let's go ahead and take a look right down to the lower 48. As you can see, weather system affecting the Pacific Northwest as well as the Central Plains states as well. Other than that, pretty nice and dry toward the south further you go. New Orleans, 71 degrees. That's where I want to be today. That's really nice. And then just okay weather for DC, 40 degrees, and New York, 37. So let's go ahead and take a look at our kids' weather watch for today. Now it's a weather trivia. In 1987, Cody, Wyoming, in a 5-hour period, more than 8 inches of snow fell. Wow, that's 3/4 of a foot. That pretty much. Oh man, I wouldn't want to be shoveling that next day. That's for sure. Thank you very much to Mount McKinley Bank, serving 50 years in the community. And Mike says next week we'll be visiting with the kids from Wood River Elementary. I am a Wolf Pup alum. That is right. Okay, tomorrow's forecast. Let's start up north. Flurries for Barrow, partly cloudy skies at Nome, mostly sunny for Nome as well. Barrow 7 degrees forecasted. Nome, a turnaround of 17 degrees. Fort Yukon, a little warmer at minus 10. In the interior, here's what we know. Fairbanks, about the same as today, 10 degrees. Delta as well, and Healy, warmer at 18, but mostly clear skies. On the Panhandle, Juneau, 35 degrees, and then that system just won't budge in Ketchikan, 43 degrees, and expected rain for them as well. If we take a look in the southwest, well, look at that, mixed bag of weather, as Mike says. Bethel, 13 degrees, Cold Bay, 34, and Kodiak, 40. That weather system still affecting right off the Gulf there as well. In the south central, Anchorage, 30 degrees for tomorrow. Homer, seeing part of that system as well, 37 degrees, and Valdez, 29 degrees projected. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our almanac for today. Our today's high was 10. Last night's low, that was pretty cold, minus 19 degrees. Record high of 40 degrees in 1911. Record low of 50 below in 1937. The sun rose at 8:41, set at 5:32, giving us 8 hours and 51 minutes. That's a gain of 7 minutes over yesterday, and winds are at the east 5 to 15 miles per hour. It is Thursday, so road conditions report time, brought to you by Jose Body and Paint and Mongold Insurance. Dalton and Elliott highways, drifting snow and snow on the road as well, icy patches here and there. For the Steese-Richardson, gusty winds on the Steese, some ice on the roads and blowing snow as well. And for the parks, icy roads, slippery patches, and frosted surface. So be careful if you are traveling over the next couple of days. Our short-range forecast is going to be another cold one tonight, projected to be almost 20 below overnight. Scattered clouds, a little colder, and tomorrow 10, more sunshine, a little cooler as well, even though today's high was 10 as well. But look at this long extended outlook. Now we start getting into temperatures into the 20s and the upper 20s at that, hopefully by the weekend and into next week. And then temperatures overnight will increase or warm up as well. So temperatures in the single digits to maybe -5 below.
Wow.
Yeah, it can get colder.
I
a lot
was
colder.
20 below this morning.
Very good.
Get warmer.
We're still in February. We're still in February. Once we're in mid-March, pretty clear, I think, at least.
I hope so.
All right, before we go, a reminder that KTVF is having another Watch and Win contest running every night during the Fairbanks Evening News and News Center Final.
That's right, Daryl. It's your chance to win 400 gallons of heating fuel from Alaska Fuel Services.
Just look for the Alaska Fuel Services truck sometime during one of the newscasts.
Then go to our website, webcenter11.com, find the contest section and enter for a chance to win. Good luck. You're going to need it. All right, that will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We're glad you could join us.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, the Pope today questioned Trump's Christianity, which had Donald Trump firing back. That's next with Lester Holt.
Join us here 6 days a week at 6 at 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
From all of us here at the News Center, have a great night.